that. We'll discuss
and Macau Mutua, and then tell them that I'm applying for a job as VP of this country. It's quite ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in these secretariats, Debal. I've worked in secretariats before, and it's nonsense what's going on there.
Yeah, and I think that is what is on the front page of the Daily Nation, so that we don't risk also not finishing reviewing the papers as we continue that. Daily Nation, that is what is on the front page of the Daily Nation. The next DP, and we have their faces here. This is what Hamid Hashi is alluding to. 2 weeks of jostling and lobbying for both Raila and William Ruto. This is a make-or-break affair as they are forced to balance their choices with not only the ambitions of the bigwigs in their coalitions, but also the fallouts that could result from the crowded race. This, therefore, is not a simple popularity game, but a careful consideration of mettle, loyalty, gender, region, and fidelity to the party structures. So this decision time, one of these men and women, you can see their faces spread here. One of these men and women, the faces are spread there, could be Kenya's deputy president in less than 100 days. As the front-runner parties, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, embark on selecting their nominees, little is known about the aspirants. Who are they? What are their credentials beyond party association? And what should Kenyans expect of your leadership? Inside you have the profiles of the four, right? And that is well laid out for you on page 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Daily Nation. The next DP, that is what is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Also, Sankok, son killed in gun incident, had refused to go back to school. And stars sparkle at Met Gala is what we have on top there, looking at the teaser. So, Hashi, you were commenting on the next DP.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, Debal. Kalonzo Musyoka is the man who's going to make Azimio get into power. It's not going to be Martha Karua, because Martha Karua's votes in Central Province, Debal, are very questionable. And I'm speaking from a statistical point of view, not from a personal point of view. And the point is, Debal, the game of numbers is on. And any liberal who's got a bleeding heart about balance, gender balance, they've got a bleeding heart about being in the trenches, they have a bleeding heart. You cannot change anything if you don't go into power. The job description of a political party is to go to power. And when they're in power, then they can do all the progressive things they want. And for the first time in a generation, where the chances of a progressive going into State House is there, and we don't have to muck it up. I mean, why would they call Kalonzo in front of people who are the age of his children to come and say, I'm applying for a job? I mean, who came up with this harebrained idea? You know, when Professor Anyang' Nyong'o and I were running a secretariat at ODM, I mean, it was running like a machine. And, you know, nothing was left to chance because everything was checked, counter-checked, analyzed, understood. But I think about this is really maybe they owe Kalonzo an apology. This is not the United States where President Bush goes and says, look, there's 3 senators that I want. They've been debating with me, and we're going to do this fact check on them, because they are institutions, they are very stringent about many things. Here, with our tribes, Debal, the reason why Kalonzo Musyoka, Debal, is a good running mate is because he's got 3 million Wakamba votes. That's a fact. And then they're going to add the one from Nyanza. Then they're going to add the little that Uhuru can bring from Central on top of that. Then they're going to make this pile of ethnic groups to go to vote called Azimio. You know, when we come here, Debal, we have a principled, moral and ethical thing to tell the Kenyan public how God has made us see the truth in this country. And if we're not blunt about it, and we don't inform the public as to what is going on politically, we don't have any business coming here on national TV. This is a very important stage that we're given. So the least we could do is tell the Kenyan public the truth. Kalonzo Musyoka, Mr. Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka is the team that is going to win the election and the chairmanship of Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta. That is the mix. Anybody who thinks a secretariat is going to bring 3 million votes to Azimio, then tell them to go and stand for the election.
So you hold a view that Kalonzo Musyoka should given a preferential treatment,
Yes.
as it is, from the other contenders who are vying for this particular position at the end of the day. Peter Kagwanja, a man of his stature. Do you think this is bemeaning to go through the exercise as it were?
First and foremost, I think I want to take it from where Hashi left it. Two things. One, when we are thinking about these deputies, let us think about the next president, because we've seen it from Nairobi, from Kiambu, and Nyeri. Those are the lessons we learned. That it is most likely that in your first 400 days, you have the deputy ruling for the next 5 days and so. We've learned it from Tanzania, that the deputy you choose is the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And it's in the waiting. And that's why it was deliberately put into the Constitution. So don't have a deputy who is not presidential material just because of the whims. Somebody possibly, there is a gender consideration. Gender is not a factor. It's not a factor in determining who becomes, because gender does not connote meritocracy.
Male or female?
Male or female can be anything. What we're saying is, in politics, as he said, it is which is the best horse to win the race. It might be a woman, it might be a man. Now, Kamala Harris was not given favor by Biden. No. She fought Biden. Clinton, Hillary Clinton, was not given a favor by Obama or the others. She fought and mobilized her resources in order to win. Let us see the same, because we need a presidential material, somebody with that vigor. If you study Suluhu Hassan, it's the same. Magufuli did not do any favor to Suluhu. So this idea of gender balancing as part of tokenism must end. So we don't need that. I mean, mother deserves. She has fought, she has been a presidential candidate, and she has been there. But that's the party decide. Second is about the democracy. We are watering down our democracy. And I want to say this with a bit of pain, because I've seen us go back to 1986, the dark days of Kano. And Kenyans seems to be walking to that trap without noticing. I sat down myself. I paid 250,000, a quarter million, to be a candidate in Jubilee. I spent a figure I cannot mention here on national television to traverse Murang'a County.
It's good you mentioned the figure. So
no, it's all right. It's all right. I mean, everybody knows how much an election costs.
Okay.
If you are calling 1,000 people in a meeting one day, we are talking about 1.2 to 1.5 million. If you call 1,000 people, so if you have that kind of meeting, 100 of them, then you know what we're talking about. So I traversed the county with friends like him and others, giving me whatever little they had. No, it is true. It is true.
It's a fact.
It is true. It's true. Then all of a sudden, you have the so-called national administration, which is the equivalent of Moi-era provincial administration, sitting there as the guru with the statistics. No, you did not win. You did not win. You are number one. You are number two. And where was this? Then you have some, party honcho sitting in the corner there, telling you that this is what party royalties are about. Then you have another partisan fellow who representing some interest within whatever. Then all of a sudden, the decision is made that the candidate is this one and the other one. And you know what this other candidate they are talking about. Then there are this exchange of handouts behind. How you did not give the 4 million that was required. You missed the opportunity. I mean, why should you bribe? Why should you bribe if you are paid the party ticket? So I long for Moi-era Murorongo, because at least you are stolen a bill. Like when Matiba passed out of Kano, we could see why. But in our case, we are beginning to have this party affiliate, associates. And that's why when you talk about this team to select Kalonzo, if I were Kalonzo, I wouldn't go.
I wouldn't go.
It's a demeaning.
Ridiculous.
Because President Kalonzo has been a candidate